Hello everyone, this is Captain Klaus from FS Flyboys again. I hope you guys have been enjoying the FSX series of videos as much as I've been enjoying bringing them to you. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than normal. Rather than doing FSX, I'm going to the kind of the other side of the aviation hobby that I'm into, and I'll be doing a new series of videos. I'm going to start doing Realflight simulator videos. I know Jeff Faviano, he does some of those out there as well. He's done a few of them. And I'm flying on the Realflight G5.5 instead of the 7.5, so it's a little bit older, but it still runs very well. And I've been an RC pilot now for about 10 years, so this is going to be one of the other side of the hobby that I quite enjoy. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and flip over here, and we'll get going into the sim. Alright guys, you can see here, we have the aircraft loaded in right now. The engine's killed for now, so they're not running. We have the V-22 Osprey. And the great thing we can do in the sim is we can fly whatever we want. And we have a giant reset button on the transmitter. So we can just reset and keep right on going. So you guys can see I have the sim controller up there. You can see I'm moving the controls around. It's a pretty quick response. You got your throttle, rudder. These are the ailerons, elevator. You can see that moving. My other controls up here, you can see over here, and you can see this is a side panel, control panel more of. My nav guides I have up here, so you guys can see what my altitude is above sea level, the heading, my airspeed, my engine RPM, and there's my frame rate. And our wind right now is currently calm, so we're actually getting decent. This is actually perfect flying weather for pilots, and we're at Santa Clara County Model Aircraft Sky Park. That is a mouthful. I might flip around to a couple different airports today, but we'll see what we can do. And just like in the FSX video, guys, this will not be on a set schedule. I will do these videos when I can. Being a senior in high school this year, it's going to be quite difficult to get a lot of them done. Drop our cargo hold down there. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. But, yeah, pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and hit our reset button here to get our engine started. And they are pretty loud, as you can probably hear them. I'm going to talk up a little bit, maybe so you guys can hear me. The engines are pretty loud. It's a simulated turboprop engine sound, which is pretty cool. Go and put our cargo hold up there. And you fly this. This is classified as a heliplane, so you can fly it like a helicopter or an airplane, doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of throttle here. Let our throttle spool up. Get about half thrust, a little less maybe. The back stick and just lift off like that. Gears up, and there you go. A little bit more thrust, and kind of get some altitude up here because the change out to go to straight flying aircraft is a little bit difficult with this aircraft because it's got a lot of weight to it, but it's fairly easy to fly. The Realflight sims have been out now for quite a while, and that's what I started out on before I actually got my hands on the real aircraft. So go ahead and make the transition here, put the engines, some flaps full, and give it full power. Compensate, and there you go. About 70 miles an hour right now. I think this thing will fly at about 80 miles an hour top speed. And I think I have over 70 aircraft to choose from on this sim, so, and there's multiple versions of some aircraft. And the G5.5 version actually incorporated the multiplayer combat situation where you could go on to servers. If people were hosting a server, if it was a combat server, you would select a combat aircraft. If it was warbirds, it's most likely a P-50. And you would basically go up and try and shoot other players down, win points, and win the game. So it was quite a bit of fun, actually. I I'm not doing much right now. Try an aileron roll. This thing's actually pretty sluggish for response here. I'm going to try and do a roll. Kind of flips over. It doesn't do a nice solid aileron roll. It kind of starts and then just all of a sudden just tumbles over. So it's kind of a pain in the rear to roll this thing, but it's quite a fun aircraft to fly actually. Pull our throttle back here and make a nice slow, well, not slow, but low pass anyway. Oh, better let the engine. Oh, that was smart. Oh, I got too low. Oh well, that happens. This aircraft has horrible response on the elevator. Excuse me. And on the engines. Well, that's embarrassing. I promise I don't do this in real life with my real aircraft, because this aircraft is pretty sluggish. It's a little heavy. Let's see. I'll pull out something. I'll pull out a jet. How about that? I'm not a real jet pilot, RC jet pilot wise, but I'm going to be training for that here pretty soon. My dad is though. But I fly electric ducted fans, which is it's a jet, but instead of having a turbine, it has a ducted fan in there. I think I'll fly a L39 here. This is a pretty easy one to fly. It's got a nice trailing blink landing here. Go ahead and put our flaps up. And that does not, it doesn't sound like a turbine, I guarantee you that. Real turbines don't sound like this. Normally I'd set flaps for takeoff, but I don't have a 3-position switch on here. I do have brakes, however, with this jet. If you push the elevator stick all the way forward and I give it some power here, you can see the jet's not moving. It does have brakes, so which is a nice feature for this aircraft, because these jets do need them. Alright, control check real quick, as best I can see. Alright, looks good. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle. Ease into it, and just track it straight down the runway. Slipped off nice and easy. A little sensitive on the elevator there, and gears up, and didn't take us long to reach full power there. At 140 miles an hour right now. It says we're 470 feet altitude above sea level. I'm not sure how much feet we are above ground level right now. Not that high, I guarantee. But I own a few different aircraft. I got a P-51 Mustang. I have a T-45 Goshawk for a jet. For little micro planes, I have Parkzone T-28, Micro T-28. I also have a E-Flight UMX SBOC 342 3D, which is a really nice aircraft. Really aerobatic, really sensitive controls. Flies quite well, actually. It's a great little airplane. Got lots of power to it, which I love. I also love scale flying. This would be considered scale flying. And this kind of stuff. Nice traffic patterns right here. We'll throttle back. This is called the Whisper Pass. Let's go and give it full power. I'm going to go vertical with this thing, see how much vertical I get. I can pretty much get as much vertical out until I can't see it anymore. That's pretty much the range. Alright, roll it over on its back. Pull it over. That's the problem using a small screen. You can't see where the aircraft is going. Looks like I'm going away from... Okay, hang on. There we go. It's easy to get disoriented on the simulator just because there's not a whole lot of visual reference. You got to keep the aircraft pretty close to you. Doing good though. So we're trying to keep it over the runway on the flight line. Do a full speed pass here. So we topped about 189 there on the high speed off that pass there, not bad. There is a function on this where you can bring up the binoculars to see what pitch angle your aircraft is at, so you know how to keep it coming. As I was saying earlier with the combat, what they do, no one does it anymore, unfortunately. This was quite a few years ago now. But you basically get on the aircraft and you go up there and you'd actually have guns. And they had different skill levels, like you'd have limited ammunition, limited fuel, and all that stuff. And you could go up there and just shoot people down all day long. And you could get points with other stuff. You can get fuel if you fly through these gates. And get all that kind of cool stuff. And the gear and flaps are automatic, so when you pull the throttle back down, well, at a certain point, the gear and flaps will deploy automatically. You're invisible until you get in the air, so pilots can't just shoot you. Otherwise known as, they can't spawn camp around you and shoot you up. So, that's how they protect against that. A lot of the pilots I flew against they pretty much did that all day, so they were masters, and, I mean, I scored hits on them, but I never shot them down and all that, but you know you're about to get shot down because your engine's smoking. You lose power, your plane starts doing weird things. You can have pieces blown off. You can have mid-air collisions. I mean, it's pretty fun. And they had all sorts of different versions of combat. They had streamer cut, where you try and chase people down. A real streamer cut is where they come to an airport like this. You can do combat at any airport, but a real streamer cut would be coming to an airport like this. This is called a photo field, meaning it really exists in real life. There's a lot of fields which are not real, which they created using their own scenery. Excuse me. And you can go on board the aircraft. Since this is a photo field, you cannot go on board the plane in a camera. But that's not real RC flying. I don't like FPV kind of stuff. It's cool, but I don't like it. Kind of takes away the aspect of line of sight flying. So, but anyway, the combat versions they had a Rocket Wars foamies, where they would take out the multiplex Parkmaster 3D, which don't make anymore, and you go up and they add rocket launchers to it, and you go shoot people down. And I was a master at the Rocket Wars. I always loved that. The combat Warbirds was with guns and rockets. They had combat jets, which implies L-39s, which I'm flying right now. They also had paintball, which was with Warbirds, jets, or I think they had paintball foamies, I'm pretty sure. They also have streamer cut, jets, Warbirds, foamies, and biplanes, which is the World War I style SOP with camels and stuff like that. They had all that. So, or SOP with pups. Sorry, SOP with pups, not SOP with camels. But it was a lot of fun back during that time, but I was never really good at it. And the only thing I was good at was Rocket Wars and crashing on the combat. Alright, so I think we've been up here for quite a while now. I'm going to go ahead and set up for a landing here. Alright, going a little fast here. I'm going, oops, didn't mean to do that. Or throttle back. Let's go ahead and drop the gear on my base leg. Flaps and elevator coming down. It's going to slow down here, add some drag. Going plenty fast. Start our turn. Bring it back around here. Altitude looks pretty good right now. This is a standard procedure for landing a jet that I use for my T-45 Goshawk, which is free wing for a motion RC. If you guys want to take a look at that, it's a pretty cool jet. It's got a lot of cool features on it. It's a lot of fun to fly. Alright, that's a little high, but we're a little further out than I'd like to be, so not too bad though. Okay, keep the wings level. Got it made, so just pull the throttle back. Okay, we've cleared the grass, we're over the runway. Touchdown. Oh, it's there. Alright, came in a little fast. The problem is those flaps want to make this aircraft land in a nose-down angle, which this airplane is extremely difficult to land in a nose-up angle, and it gains speed rather quickly, which is not something I like. I want to put it into almost a high alpha configuration when landing it. And about 57 miles an hour is about, we want to touch down right about 50 miles an hour. We don't want to touch down any faster than that. I think we'll let it coast in from here. Okay, we have the grass cleared. There's the runway. That looks a little bit better. Touchdown. Beautiful. And brakes. Steer it. Whoop, 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 whoop. A little too much. A little too much on the rudder there. Okay. Can't feed in rudder and brake at the same time. I just remembered that. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Go and taxi back here. You guys can see at this airport, when they were here, they took pictures with a lot of cars here. And you can see there's planes sitting there at the flight line, and that windsock, now that I gotta point this out, that windsock is not real. That is something that Realflight added to the simulator. And they put that in there so you can tell the wind direction. That's all it serves. It's not real. That is not at the real field. They do that to all the airports. I was thinking if I actually taxi over this way, there'll probably be a guy standing there. Yeah, you can see there's a guy, he's working on his plane back here, he's right here. So that's just one of the things. Then press the K key, that kills the engine. So I'm going to go ahead and search for another aircraft here. I don't know, what would you guys want to see? Something fast, something slow, something cool? I mean, they're all cool, but let's see what we got. We got a whole list of aircraft here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that right now. I'm guessing probably not. Okay. You know what? I'll use the in-game aircraft selector. This I know you will be able to see. Yeah, this I know you can see. Okay. So if I can use the controller to scroll through the aircraft, and you can see I got tons of them. And these are all real. Oops, I went through the loop already. Okay. These are all real aircraft. Got pylon racers. We got all warbirds, helicopters. If any of you out there have seen the TV show MASH, this is what they fly. The Bell H-13 Sioux, I want to say. I think is the one that it is. I could be wrong on that. Got gliders, aerobatics. We've got Cessnas, helicopters, or helis, I guess as you call them. Let's see. Where's that? Dominion 3D 90. I can fly helicopters. I just don't really care to. There's a Cirrus. Made by a company called Electrifly. I'm not sure if they're still in business anymore. They might be. PBY Catalina. Extra 300. One of the more famous. This is a German-designed aircraft. They use it in Red Bull Air Racing. It's a favorite among RC modelers. They are excellent airplanes to fly. They handle very well, and they are quite amazing. We got F-86s. Ducted fan and turbine. More Cessnas. This is not a realer one. Neither is that one. This is not real. Some of these are based off real things. The GB, that's definitely one of them. That's definitely a real one. This is a drone. This is a real one they put in to operation recently. We got Harriers. Yeah, the Hawk. Good glider. Doesn't have any control surfaces you can actually see. Just you hand launch it, it just does its thing. It just soars. Got a Huey. No Apaches to all you Apache lovers out there. Sorry about that. There's no Apaches in the sim. Okay, this is the Parkmaster 3D I was talking about. It's actually pretty big. It may look small right from here, but it's actually quite big. But it flies really well. This is one of the gliders I was actually thinking about getting. quite a while ago. But Multiplex, it's a great foam aircraft company. And yes, these aircraft are made out of foam. They're not made out of like fiberglass or carbon fiber, stuff like that. These are made out of foam. Complete 100% foam. But the electronics, of course, are not. Let's see. Now you can see here's all the different versions of it. You got Streamer Cut, which has a streamer attached to the back of it. Rocket Wars, which shoots out rockets. And then this is just the regular one. Let me see what else I got here. And AFS is artificial stabilization. Here's the P-51. The canopy opens, the gear doors work, everything. It's a great aircraft. Really enjoy flying this one. I love P-51s. They're amazing. Yeah, you can see there's a regular one. You got combat, paintball, streamer cut. It's pretty slick. Gliders, Russian Thunder. This is an old float plane they used to race back in the day. Seawind, they make that one. Most of these are real aircraft in real life. 608, I believe, is. This one's not. Excuse me. Jeez. This one is not. Got a skyship. This thing's a pain in the royal you-know-what to fly. It just floats around. Can't really do much about it. It has 2 engines on it, though. Sup with pup, combat, paintball, streamer cut, all the good stuff. We can do glider tows up here if we want to. Super Sportster, really fast. Runs out of fuel quickly. Ultimate biplane. I think that's Futaba. Yeah, it says Futaba on the side there. And that's who makes the controller I'm flying with is Futaba. And you have all the different aircraft companies. You got Futaba. For transmitters, you got Spectrum, Futaba, JR, all that good stuff. Ultra Sport. There's the Osprey we just flew a little while back. There's a Westland Lynx, Augusta Westland Aircraft Company. Oh, it's going to load. Okay. Oh, this is one of them. That's different. Oh, what to fly. Let's see. Do the Park Master. Let me find the Multiplex Park Master here real quick. I go to the M's. Oh, there it is. Do that and select that one. I know it may look tiny, but they're actually quite big. You can see, and that is the control. That's the aileron right there, a whole thing. It's practically the entire length of the wing that moves. It's crazy. But they fly so incredibly well. They're amazing, but they are electric. So I'll just go ahead and take it up. This is now, they call it 3D. 3D flying is a term used for doing hovers. We do rolling hovers. Anything that involves extremely difficult and precise control movements is called 3D. And yes, real airplanes like this, not just helicopters, will hover. Now this is a high alpha. This is something that F-16s will do. This aircraft will do it as well. I am not the best at it. It rolls so incredibly fast, though, but I can turn this thing on a dime. It's unbelievable. If I did that in real life, it may rip the wings off the plane. I'm not even kidding. That G-force right there, that was probably about... Oh, that was probably a good maybe 8 or 9 G pull for that airplane right there, even though it doesn't weigh much. That's called a stall turn. Well, that's not a real stall turn. I'll show you what a stall turn is. Stall turn's where you go up and basically kill the power and just kick rudder, and usually it'll flip over like it does. I'm going to see if I have full control throw set onto this thing here. That's one thing I'd never know about. I'm the best landing in the world, but that's okay. I just want to check something. I have a dial up here. I had to change the controls. Yep, okay, that is dual rates. That's my dual rates, which means you can either program in less control, so it's not as sensitive, so you can't really, I guess, crash as easy. That's for full-on 3D flying, and I usually set it to that because I like 3D flying. It's a lot more fun. And all these aircraft, You can put colored smoke on them if you want. See if I can open to a flat spin here. I know the extra 300L will do one. You have to have a lot of control throw. This is a normal flat spin. Some people call it a death spiral. Try an inverted flat spin here. This is inverted means upside down, so kind of have to push the aircraft onto its... Yeah, that didn't work out very well. Hang on. Let me try this. Let me roll it over on its back here. There we go. There, it's doing it. It finally did it. Okay, hold on. Pull out. You can just reverse direction on a dime with this thing. It's unbelievable. And I can just kind of flip it around like this and pull the power off, let it sink, and then put it into a high alpha and just fly it like that. Throttle's very sensitive on this, so you gotta be, truly gotta be careful with it. Oh, a little more on the ailerons there. Nice 3-point there. There's one other aircraft that I want to show you guys here before we go done for the day. Let's see. Switch aircraft. I just want to let you know that in the future, for any FSX flights that are going to be longer than a certain time limit, I may split them up into 2 parts and then use YouTube's video editing software online to add them together to make them into one video. So they will be available as separate videos, but after the final video is created, those probably will go away. Unless I have to keep them on there for the file so it knows what to use, but I don't think I'll have to do that. If I have to, I'll have to experiment with that, and then we'll just go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and get down. I want to fly the Yak 54 3D with actually just gyro, with gyro. Now, the gyro, what it does is it basically is a stabilizing unit inside the aircraft that basically corrects for any turbulence or other movements to the airplane that you don't want to happen. I'll show you what I mean. So the gyro, basically, see how it locks the control surface like that? See how my stick is centered right now? It locks the control surface. If I turn that, if I flip the switch, but it's showing it out here, when I move this channel to right here, this dial right here is up on top up here. And I think this has smoke, I'm not sure. Yep, it does, okay. And that control right there, this is the 3-position switch for the landing gear, which is up here. Up on top up here. So that's kind of where that's at. I don't have my trims set or anything right now, but the gyro is currently off. So see if I were to hold that, and I'm going to flip the gyro on. It holds that. It holds it for me. And I can adjust that at any point, and I can fine-tune it to where it'll basically hold any attitude that I want, which is so cool. So I'm going to go and get it up here. Okay, it's up, and I'm going to put my smoke on here. This smoke is always cool for an aircraft. Most RC aircraft like this have it. So I'm going to flip my gyro on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put this thing into a hover, and I am not going to touch the controls, and you are going to watch this thing hover. So I'm going to get it. Okay, I'm going to get set up here into a hover, and my hands are now off the controls. You can see they are not moving, and the aircraft is standing perfectly still. That's because that gyro is making self-corrections to the aircraft so it doesn't go crazy on you like that, so you don't have a problem with it. So I'm going to go ahead and then flip it around here. You can see it's very solid. It's rock solid right now. And I'm going to put it into a high alpha. This will be the easiest high alpha you can do with this jet. This aircraft, you can see it's just holding it. I am not moving the control out of it. Some people may consider it cheating. This is mainly for beginners, so they have a recovery system in case they have a problem. They can get it on the ground easier or keep it stable. So I'm going to go ahead, and I want to show you how hard this would be with the gyro off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the gyro off, and I'm going to go ahead and try and do this, because this is not easy without a gyro. So you can already sag in, my aileron screwy on me. Try and pull it up here. But this is real flying right here. This means you got your hands on the controls. You are physically keeping the aircraft in the air. And RC flying is one of the best hobbies you can get into. It gets you outside. You get to meet people. You can talk with people all day. This is how I train for it over the winter, because up here in Montana, our winters are harsh. I'm not going to lie to you. Our winters are pretty harsh sometimes. We can't fly during the winter because it's too cold for the engines. The batteries don't like it. And we get snow on the runway, so you can't, and we don't plow the runway regularly, so you can't really do that all the time. Try to land it here smooth up grass. There we go. A little smoke when it touches down. This airport only does that. It doesn't do it any others. I'm not sure why. Give it full backstick, keep that tail wheel on the ground, because that tail wheel is the only means you have of steering this aircraft. Alright, I'm going to take off again here. Take off the other way. I usually take off from the other direction. Hover the sucker. I'm going to do what's called a rolling hover, where you put the aircraft, you try and put it centered as possible, and you just roll it like this. Now it's only possible with gyro. Some guys can do it without a gyro, but it requires a lot of concentration. And you can see the gyro is constantly making corrections for it. Now if I were to flip it, now see, look at that's gyro off. Look how much corrections I'm having to do. This is really flying the airplane. I will go out on a limb here and say that these aircraft, they are very expensive. These are a couple thousand a plane, honestly. This YAG right here, if it were built in real life, you'd probably put about close to maybe $1,500 into it. Maybe $2,000 into these aircraft. The jets go, it's basically like buying a new car. A jet's expensive. A turbine for a jet, which uses real jet fuel and a mix of what's called Jet A and kerosene for all you real pilots out there. Real turbines use that mix, and it gets expensive. The turbines alone cost $5,000. The kits, the jets themselves, some kits, when you get a kit, it's usually a box, and you have parts and pieces that you have to put together. You got to build everything. The old style wooden kits for airplanes back in the 50s and 60s, it was basically a box of lumber, and you had to basically self-design, and you got a box of plans, blueprints, quote-unquote, that you had to use to build your airplane with, which was maybe not the most fun thing in the world, because you had to build absolutely everything and buy absolutely everything. Nowadays, you've got the foam aircraft out, which are electric and come as what's known as a bind and fly. They have different classifications, like you got RTF, which is ready to fly, means comes with everything, including your transmitter, your battery, your charger, and the airplane fully assembled, ready to go. Probably the only thing you have to do is charge the battery and you're good to go. That's about it. Then we have bind and fly. Bind and fly means if you have a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter, you can take that and basically bind it, or make the receiver inside the aircraft talk to the transmitter so they can work together. Most transmitters can house, I think you can store up to, biggest ones now, you can store up to like 250 models on an airplane, all their individual settings configured for each model. You just have to make sure to switch over each model each time. And, you have different channel aircraft, like this is a 4-channel aircraft, well, technically 5 with smoke. 6 with gyro, so it's a 6-channel aircraft. Most airplanes are 4-channel, which means it has aileron, rudder, elevator, and throttle. Then you have 5-channel where they add flaps, 6-channel retracts, and then you can have 7 up to 8, and sometimes even more if you got lights and stuff. And that's always fun. But one of the other things that they have out and available, it's called I'm going to get back to classifications, I guess. They have bind and fly basic, which means it comes with the airplane. The bind and fly does not come with, bind and fly comes with the airplane fully assembled, the battery, and the charger. No transmitter. If you already have a transmitter for it, you're good to go. RTF is mainly only for beginners who are starting out and don't have a transmitter already. Find and Flight Basic is something new that Horizon Hobby just started, where you get everything, you get the plane fully assembled, but no battery, no charger, no transport. That's kind of a drawback to some people because it's Find and Flight Basic. Then you go down, you have ARF, which is almost ready to fly. Some assembly required. The aircraft comes partially assembled, where you have the main components are already assembled and covered, but you have to put your own engine in it, your own radio gear, which means servos, receivers, any other engine equipment you need, batteries, stuff like that. You have to put all that in on your own. But it usually comes with all the mounting hardware and everything like that. Then you have kit, which is a box of lumber, and you got to build it yourself. But the electrics, most electrics nowadays are either ARFs. Oh, and I forgot one other one. There's also, before ARF, you have PNP, which means plug and play. There's different classifications of PNP. PNP means basically you get the plane, you get no receiver, you get no battery, no charger, and no motor. So they basically say you can put your own power system and receiver system into this airplane, but all the servos and everything else are already installed, but no motor. You have to provide your own motor. Now for jets, PNP means everything else. It can mean something else. You have to provide, well, actually it's the same thing. You still have to provide all your turbines and some of your radio gear. So those are typically the different classifications of different aircraft, and I have a whole bunch of them. I have a PNP, I got Find and Flies, Find and Flight Basics, I've got ARFs, everything. So, but me, my dad, and my brother, we're all into this hobby, and it's quite a bit of fun, actually. But our wallets do not like it. We always say that there's a few sayings out there that we like the hobby, but our wallets don't. Flying is optional, landing is mandatory, stuff like that. So, all right, go ahead, full power, turn the smoke off. I'm gonna bring it back around and land it, and I think we'll call it a video for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this intro episode to Realflight G5.5. Great, a little rough landing there, not too bad. Not one of my best, but it's a sim. So anyway, guys, I guess leave a comment, like, subscribe below. Look for more in the future. And there will definitely be a lot more FSX and Realflight videos coming very soon. Kill it right there. That's going to do it for today, guys. So until next time, guys, this is Captain Klaus from FS Flyboys. Till next time, take care. Have a good one.